Our world, our country is going through a difficult time. Race, diversity, and unity are difficult and intricate topics, especially for the church. But our community is shaped by different people and by different culture and different race and ideas. And we hope that each story that you hear will help us to listen, to understand, to sympathize, and push forward in Jesus Christ. When you drive through Decula, it looks a lot different than it did 20 years ago. You drive through neighborhoods, go to the schools, if you go to businesses, the likelihood is you're going to run into somebody that doesn't look like you, that doesn't think like you, or act like you. As Hebron Church, are we using the gospel to leverage kingdom diversity in our community? I'm reminded of the church at Philippi. At its beginnings, it broke down racial, socioeconomic, it broke down aptitude, and all kinds of other barriers for the sake of the gospel. That through their differences, the one thing that united them was the gospel. Let me introduce you to the Witherspoons. They have gone through many life events, from dating to marriage to having a grandchild. And they've also gone through a lot as an interracial couple in our country. And I think their story of over 30 years of marriage can give us some wisdom. Listen to their story with me. What was it like in the time that y'all started dating? Help me figure out that time frame.
It wasn't unusual, but it was definitely not favorable to a lot of people. The males typically in my family were really against it. My sisters and mother were okay with it.
There was some times there to a point, like say you going out with a white girl and you're black and you're in the South, and it was difficult.
I guess I don't know if I knew any other interracial couples.
So we've been married 38 years. So.
But if you go back to when I was born, it's 1945, quite a few years ago, East St. Louis, Illinois. There was a lot of race then, a lot of negative towards black and white. I remember when I was in high school, I'm a very outgoing person, and I had a situation at that school where I was talking to another race. They kept watching me. After a while, I got called to the office and I got expelled for a week because I was talking to another race or whatever. And then I went into the Air Force, and all the way through my 21 years of service, you didn't have too many blacks, but I found friends who were white and I dealt with them, and it was different. But I found people who I could relate to. I think he had 30-something years in service. I was on flying status, so we went on a lot of trips and stuff. And some of the trips, you go on a 5-man crew, and a lot of those trips, we used to go out and stay in hotels, and we used to go out to eat. And some of the hotels and restaurants or whatever, to a point, they were, they didn't accept blacks. And so I just went where I could go, and they went and ate what they wanted to eat, and I did what I needed to do to get some food. It was difficult, but you dealt with it. It's just people don't like you because you're black, and it has nothing to do with who you are and what you are.
And you've known that all your life, and most black people do. It's just a weird feeling I don't think we as white people can relate to at all. It's like, there are people out there that just hate you because you're black. It's hurtful. And you think, oh, not in this day and age, but like I said, it's not been that long ago. And there's still people that are telling their kids, using bad words and putting other people down just based on the color of their skin. And they swim in it. So they come out and that's all they know, and that's culturally where they're at. And if you're a Christian and you can still fall under that. That's kind of the shame too. You can still, because your culture says it's okay, you can take that as more of truth than what the Word of God says.
What would your ideal church look like?
Yeah, it would be a church that preaches the Word like Landon does, that definitely talks about the sovereignty of God and goes through the Word, through the books of the Bible, so we don't miss anything.
And the basic thing is that you come there for the Word. You come there to learn about God.
And to carry out his...
I think we do have to make people really comfortable when they come in the church. And I'm talking to myself too, to make sure that, if we see somebody come into the church we don't recognize or sitting by themselves, we should make effort to say, you're welcome here, to get to know them so they feel like, okay, this is a place where, I'm accepted. I remember praying, specifically, Lord, bring more Black families into the church. And I think that's a good thing that we should still continue to do, because just to have the church be more reflective of our community and not have that segregation like you see on Sundays.
What would be like some of the things that you would like to see change in our community?
I think education, one of the biggest things to a point. You need to educate people on what went on then and what's still somewhat going on now, and understand that what went on then, you had nothing to do with it. What goes on now, you have something to do with it. And by educating people on how you feel and how the other person feels, because I can't do anything what happened to my great-great-great-grandmother or whatever to her, but I have a lot to do with what happens to my kids. But the thing about it is, it's something that needs to be done. And I hope that in doing this, it will educate other people to somewhat get involved and understand that it's a problem and it needs to be addressed.